that changes the direction of your business. So I think one of the biggest things that I notice as a virtual assistant is people, you have to understand that changing is part of growth. Mm-hmm.
Hello and welcome to Deals with Heels. I'm Debra.
And I'm Christina.
And welcome. We're your hosts. We have a special guest with us in studio today, Ms. Mendy Applegate. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming and talking to us all about starting up businesses. We realized as we've done this, these episodes, that it sounds really complicated.
Yes. Last week I was like, how are people going to feel about this? Because we know how much goes into it, but it's so overwhelming. And just, the 20 minutes episodes that we have, and it's like, oh man.
It's not enough. Not enough.
Yes. No, please follow us at the end for more content because, it's definitely not enough time for sure.
So we're happy to have you because you are a virtual assistant and in person because you have some local people, right?
I do.
Where you could meet with them in person if
Absolutely.
you wanted to.
And we have people come to my office all the time. So I actually have a brick and mortar.
Awesome. I love that.
Yes. Because I'm more of a hands-on person for sure.
Well, I'm good with any of it. If they're helping, they're helping. But and we did talk last week about
Mendy's course.
Your course. Yes. You have an online course for a business startup that as we got going, it was like, I know this is going fast and we're talking about math and other things. And so there are resources out there available to help people.
Absolutely.
And not just
See, I'm podcasts. Not the only one that says absolutely. Thank you so much. You make it so normal now.
I started the absolutely.
I know you did.
So anyway, that is what we've been talking about. And so if you have missed all of that technical discussion on what type of business to form and writing your business plan with marketing and financial projections, then I encourage you to go back and listen to those episodes and take some notes. Today, we are going to talk about finding the location for your business. And if you're not going to be brick and mortar, the online market that you choose is really important. I notice on a lot of the threads on social media that there's a lot of questions about that. And I'm doing everything. I've got my online store. I don't understand why nothing's selling. I'm running Facebook ads. I'm running, and seemingly they're doing all of the right things, but they may not be selling the right stuff to the market that they're selling to. And that's not really well thought out from the beginning, then it can keep you from being successful.
It can.
And same with the location, like the brick and mortar. I mean, if you are a retail shop and you are in the little of nowhere where there's nothing around, it's going to be harder. Doesn't mean it can't work, but it's going to be harder for you to drive that traffic to that location.
Well,
what it does, out of mind thing.
It makes you responsible for driving all of the traffic. It's definitely better for you to be in a location that has traffic coming there anyway. That's why having lots of retail people with you, even though it seems like they're competitors, it brings so many more people into the whole area that it gives everybody's business a lift and everybody's advertising works together. So being off on your own, you just have to be prepared that you have to generate every ounce of the traffic that comes there. And I mean, that's just, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be off the beaten path for a retail store. And I also think that Mendy and I were talking about earlier that, for example, if you're a restaurant and that building that has had restaurants in it before seems perfect. It's already got a kitchen and everything in it. And 5 other restaurants have failed. And I'm thinking,
and I can spot one. I'm a mile away. I mean,
it doesn't matter what kind of food. It doesn't matter what kind of service. It's just like not a restaurant spot. And at some point, you have to say, okay, I just can't go there. I know my outbuild would be so cheap in there. They've already had a kitchen, but yeah. So you have to consider that. And then every city has their master plan. And you can see where their next commercial district is planned to be within that city. You can see, wouldn't it have been great if we'd have had enough foresight to go buy all that stuff up on Covell and Edmond?
Oh my gosh.
Because when I moved to Edmond, that was like a 2-lane road. So,
I mean, and with us living in Yukon, I mean, I never, when I moved here 12 years ago, would thought that Yukon would be the way it is now. Yukon
last year was the second fastest growing city of its size in the nation. Yep. I mean, it is really growing. And I'm assuming they're doing that by the actual population of Yukon proper and not the school district, because that's even more vast. So it's confusing when the post office and everyone switches it, and you live in Yukon and your kids go to Mustang schools. And
that's me.
We call it the Bermuda Triangle. There's 2 of them. There's one on the north side and then one on the south side, depending on the school district.
Well, pretty much all of Northwest Edmond, south, and I mean, nothing west of Santa Fe and Edmond is Edmond. The geographic center of Edmond, Oklahoma is I-35. So
nothing is there.
Nothing is there.
Right, because it's the cross timber forest. And Meriwether, when they came through exploring, said they never want to come through there again because it was like cutting through steel anvils. It has those blackjack oak trees that kind of grow in a hedge. And not a good place for you to put your business unless you have a lot of money to clear that land. For sure. But so you can go in. I actually sat on a committee for the Edmond Economic Development Authority 20 years ago that dealt with the I-35 corridor and east of I-35 and helped them put that master plan together. Okay. And so they're just now, the convention center that they put in right before COVID, I think it kind of was in that time frame. We planned that 20 years ago and it just opened back then. So those master plans are in place for a long time, and you can kind of see
the growth.
Right. And pretty much every industry has those. There's different intersections that's an A location, that's a B location. For example, McDonald's is always in an A location.
Oh, yes.
Church's Chicken, that's in a D location. There just aren't as many. They're not as right. So you can kind of see it like that. And you just have, the rents are going to be higher, but you have to think that the added traffic is going to make it worth it. So they have traffic studies. You can go to your local chamber of commerce.
I've done a lot of those.
And they can tell you, all of those things. You can get a lot of good information. Also, I like to look at future construction projects. Yes. You don't want to be brand new opening up. I did some consulting for a business that had just opened up on Britton Road, and then that road shut down for 7 months. Wow. And their business went under. I mean, it went from having 30,000 cars go by it to none. I mean, it actually closed. So looking at that, they know pretty far in advance what projects are upcoming. And I would definitely look at that before I chose a location for my retail store or restaurant or anything, because that's the traffic that's coming through there. It's always so brutal.
And I feel like the location let me explain myself before, but so many just jump into it because it's exciting, it's new, they know about that one certain area, and then they think that they can run in your own business. And that's why it is so important to educate everyone on these, because I guarantee you people listening right now are not even aware of those things that you just said to make them even more successful, like take that edge to do that. Because when you are getting a location, you got to have money to, it's not an online where you can get away with a lot less stuff. When you are spending that kind of money, it's good to have all the resources you can. And some people probably don't even realize that those things are out there.
And if you're applying for an SBA loan or something else at a bank and you can whip out some traffic studies and the master plan on why you're picking this, I mean, it just makes you that much more credible. And so please, everyone, learn from my failures.
Well, I remember whenever I opened Bloom, I made sure I had already had my honeydew office, and my honeydew office is located on Main Street. So it's considered in the Main Street district. So then they promote for us. And then I'm heavily involved in the chamber, and they're on Main Street. So they heavily promote for us. So the building that I'm in, they do marketing for you free because that's what they do. So that, I mean, even just stuff like that, getting involved in the legislature in your community, because as you said, knowing what is going on in town, how much money the city is making, what areas are they wanting to build and grow, what's getting leased, what's coming in, all of those are going to change how you decide where you want to be in town. So
it definitely is. UConn has a really great downtown association too.
Oh, yes.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Heavily involved. So
Yes.
Edmond does too. They have a great downtown association. They were my client for the Edmond Arts Festival. We did some digital ads for them, but they're very. I mean, it's just so important for downtowns these days to get that shopper to come buy something local. There's just something about being in a downtown and walking to the stores that maybe it's just the nostalgia in me because, you know, back in the day, in the 70s.
Now you're telling on yourself there.
No. I think all of that's really good and helpful information.
Oh, yes. And I mean, it's the perfect time to talk about this with it being the holiday season, you know, to really be able to do that if your leases are coming up and to really start exploring that now. Like, okay, yes, you made the mistake. How can we fix it? Because those leases will be coming up. And what is your holiday traffic? Things like that.
It's always great to reevaluate. You maybe signed a 2-year lease and maybe you've been there 4 or 5 years, but it's good to pay attention to what's going on. And if you're not tied in with your local associations and your chamber and your city and all of that, then I mean, they could be making changes and you just get surprised when the trucks show up to demolish everything out in the street and close the road.
That's why networking truly is so important because you are going to learn these.
It is. And I think networking is important for the online boutiques as well.
oh, yes.
I know advertising on Shopify and Facebook and you feel like it's nationwide, so I should be able, it's so much competition.
So much.
And if you can get some local support, then it'll help with them sharing and them buying.
And it's all about engaging. Like, okay, yes, you go, or yes, you're online. You can't just put a post and be done. I wish it was that simple. I wish, but it's not.
Yeah, like what is that Kevin Costner movie where it's if you build it, they will come?
Yes. Field of Dreams.
Yes, that's it. It's the store of dreams.
He lied. If you build it, they won't come.
They won't.
Yes.
Now, if you build a baseball field, no, they're still not coming.
They're not coming. Not in the cornfields.
But I think a lot of people think that, and it.
Oh, I have. I mean, and when I first got started, it was like, well, I'm successful in this. I can definitely, like, I have my network, but you build it, but you constantly have to nurture those relationships and build those trust and show up time and time and time again.
And ask for the business.
Yes.
I mean, so many times you get used to going to referral groups and networking groups, and you're so happy to see everybody. And people will say, oh, I don't have a specific ask today. Well, why not? I mean, you're here for a reason. And I guess if you're super busy, but if I'm like that, I don't have time to come to the networking event. If I've got time to come to the networking event, then I'm going to ask for referrals in business.
Yes.
I'm going to buy, so take your time, use your time wisely. And when you're doing your online store, think about, what are you going to sell? Who are you going to sell it to? The most important thing, who are you going to sell it to? And I don't want to hear everybody could buy it. Well, everybody's not going to buy it.
No.
And if you're that spread out, general and vague, then your market is so vast that it's better figure it out. I'm going to sell, like there's a young woman, she's about 25, and she owns this store on Campus Corner at OU. Mm-hmm. And that store is so pink. And it's targeted there to the young, her age, sorority girls. And I go in there and this store is definitely not targeted to me. Mm-hmm. They did last year have this lavender velvet blazer that I thought maybe I might be able to rock with some jeans. I can pull that off. I think I might be able to do it with like some denim or something. But yeah. So she knows what her market is.
Yes.
She's going after specifically who that is. She's not trying to cast a wide net thinking everybody's going to buy my stuff.
Because everybody turns into nobody because there's no clearing of the message in that.
It's actually in that instance better to be more niche so that you have a very clear audience that you want to sell your product to. And now you've got a really clear, what products am I picking? Even if they're drop shipping, you got to pick the products that the audience that you got, and then you can target your advertising and save that much money. But casting the wide net, I'm just going to let everybody do it. Those just aren't successful. So choose your market. When we say that is, who are you selling to? Mm-hmm. That's that market. And it's the same for your location. Who comes here? Mm-hmm. If you're selling toys and you're in a bedroom community without very many kids, then maybe that's not the best place for your toy store. So taking all of that into account is really important with your market and how you choose it. So,
well, and I think that's a growing pain. I think that's just part of when you start. Because when you start, you don't know what you're doing. Most of us don't know what we're doing. I mean, we think we know, and then we're like, we don't know. But I think along that path and that journey that we take is, what do we want to sell? What do we not want to sell? And that changes for us. My business is in season 5. I feel like I'm on Friends, and every season is a new thing because I take services away and I add new services, and now I'm doing a webinar. And all these things change as the economy changes, as the city changes, as my burnout level or lack thereof, right? All of that changes the direction of your business. So I think one of the biggest things that I notice as a virtual assistant is people, you have to understand that changing is part of growth. Mm-hmm. And most people, they go, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do A, B, and C. Okay, well, that is unrealistic, right? Because if you're not making any money on A, you're not going to keep doing A. And if you keep doing A, you're going to lose money. So we work so hard as a small business owner. I'm not going to invest my time in A. A isn't worth my time, and it's clearly not worth my money. So just being adapt to, it's okay to change your business. And I tell people this all the time. It's okay. You don't have to stay where you're at. Find something that you love. We got into self-employment to be happy and for the freedom to do what we want. And what we end up doing is we make our lives even 10 times harder than it was if we would just go to corporate 8 to 5 every single Monday through Friday.
Definitely that entrepreneurial mindset. We had a whole episode over how important that is, so that you are able to roll with the punches. Yes. And that is just, okay, that way doesn't work. We're going this direction.
Well, and I really feel that's now. Why so many businesses fell in the first couple of years is because they are not growing. They are not adapting. They are not asking the questions.
They have in their mind set they're a car without brakes. Mm-hmm. I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. You know what it's like?
Hard-headed. Ooh.
It's like those football coaches that this is our game plan. This is what we're doing.
And we're going to lose every time.
And we're getting clobbered and the plays aren't working and they just keep running that same screen pass. And you're like, I can see that that's not going to work. I'm not an offensive coordinator. If I can see.
Stop throwing the slant.
Yeah.
Got it? Okay.
I think all of Oklahoma is pretty well understanding where we're coming on this with the way that both of our teams have been playing. So we won't get any more of that one.
That's a whole nother episode.
It is. This
Jesus.
So, well, I think we covered our location and market pretty well. We will have some added value added to our subscription services that will be available at another time if you are interested in getting those. And then we will move on and talk to Mendy about her entrepreneurial journey. She is definitely a badass female entrepreneur.
Yes.
How long has Honeydew Checklist been open?
Honeydew Checklist got opened in 2020. So I was in oil and gas for years, and I got laid off in 2020 with everyone else in Oklahoma City. And that's when the Honeydew started. So
Perfect timing.
It was it was a very difficult year, but for me, it was the best year of my life. And by getting laid off, it provided just an opportunity. And I'm like, oh, let me just see what happens. And just things were moving and shifting, and the economy was weird. There was so much happening, but in less than a year, I was pulling 80 hours a week, and I finally opened a brick and mortar in 11 months.
That's fantastic. What perfect timing. And I always say that you getting laid off is just the universe messing up your life to get you on your path.
God winks all day. So.
Yep. So I'm living proof that they will mess your life up to get you on your right path.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so grateful. I'm very grateful for it. So what do you see as really the biggest mistake that people make when they're starting their business?
People don't know what they don't know. That to me is the biggest mistake. And I have worked with so many kinds of industries. I've worked from tree to attorneys to health insurance to, estheticians to, I've done it all. I've been in service companies. I've been in product-based companies. And most of us just don't know how to even get off on the right foot. And so for me, and here's the thing, my background is accounting. So when I started my business, I'm like, oh, I need to go set up an LLC. I need to do this. Like I already knew the steps from an accounting standpoint. I've always been in management roles. So it's always been, policy and procedures and standard operating procedures and how to get something done the best way, the most efficient. Big picture, I don't necessarily care about the 10 steps to start. I care about what is my goal? Where am I trying to get to in 30 days? And what does that look like? And back building those steps for me and my staff and the departments that I've built. And that's what my background is in. So for me, when I became self-employed, it was pretty easy for me to do it just because I knew how to start companies or departments, right? So, but even during that process, stuff would happen. I'd be like, oh, okay, then we're going to put that on the contract and we're going to put that on the contract because every single time something would happen, I wouldn't even fathom what happened. But the learning curve is so extensive.
Yeah. Welcome to the party.
Yeah, right. I know. And that's where it's kind of led because starting earlier this year, I started my webinar, 10 Tips to Propel Your Business. And the reason why is because of all these things that we see consistently with every single client, 1 or 2 or 3 of these. And, what we have figured out, only 15% of your business is your skill set, what you bring to the table. The other 85 is everything else, right? Operations and marketing and podcast and accounting and websites and
managing employees, hiring and payroll and
all of that. And no one teaches that. We all have a dream. We all want to go do something that we love. But the 85% is why businesses close. Yeah. The number one contributor to that is financial management. They don't even know what to do. So that webinar is just, if you will at least do these 10 things, I mean, it will help you. It will help you down the line. And I've had business owners, even that are 5, 6, 7 years in, and they come in just for a refresher. And I don't even know the last time I thought about that. So even just that concept for them was, okay, maybe I should make some changes, right?
Right.
So,
you have to make changes.
You have to make changes.
Well, it's one of those that you have to learn and grow because it's an ever changing. I mean, we've just talked about how, things are going in and this, and the economy changes and just different things. You change. And so what maybe resonated with you 2 years ago that was everything has now evolved into something else. And what can you do? It's where you do pivot and you do change, because when you are in love with something, then you take those tools and ask people.
If you pick something that you're not passionate about, we've laughed about this a few times where you hear people say, I can't wait to start my own business so I don't have to work this hard in this many hours.
Oh, honey, you just tripled your hours.
Exactly. But there's just a difference when you're doing something that you love.
Yes.
And I sit on the couch and I'll have my TV going, but I'm making ads and creative, and it doesn't feel like work to me. It does when I try to shut down and go to sleep later because I work too late. But really, I enjoy it so much. It's a creative outlet for me. And so I love what I'm doing. I love my job. That hasn't always been the case, but I really do. And I think it's important that people find that. Now, sometimes, like with Sybil, it was a stepping stone for her with her house cleaning business that got her to where she is right now. And so sometimes you have to be willing to accept what's in front of you and that's a stepping stone to the path.
But look at what the stepping stone and look where she's at now.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It's one of those that
absolutely.
I fought to see 2020 for me is I just got to work less. I didn't know what I couldn't go in the building no matter how bad we were struggling inside that thing. So I had too much damn time on my hands. Then it's like, okay, well, how can I make extra money? Well, I'll just start cleaning out all my stuff and reselling it. So I got it. All my friends were like, Christina, you're really good at this. I don't want that. Just give me your dang clothes where I can resell them. Like I have fought organizing over and over and over.
You have to accept it.
I do. And I am. And, this weekend I was updating because with my ADHD, if I don't have checklists and things right in front of me until I have completely reprogrammed that area of my life, it's not getting done, period. So I do have that stuff, and it's really...
How very organized of you.
I know, right? But it's an ever-going process, and that's where people need to understand that maybe you were a brick and mortar, but then you realize that you can do it online or, be able to...
Right. Or be like my business. I started in-house, and as I'm growing, I'm going to have to eventually get space. And I just have a big house with a lot of room in it right now. And so it's okay to sit Christina offices there too. It's, but might as well if the room's going to be empty, right?
Right.
I like the location where I live. So.
Yes.
It was the last place my mother was. And so I struggled to really move from there. And then I just really like it there too. It's a great location and nice house. So anyway.
What do you think the most common problem that startups make in the very beginning, like a business owner?
Cash flow.
I would agree with that too.
I would agree with that 1,000%.
And in fact, I just did an exercise with Christina for her Declutter Queen because we had talked about those financial projections in the previous episode. And I was like, you need to know and you had done your budget. This is how much your nut is you got to cover. And how much do you got to sell to cover that? And then everything else, you just don't do anything else until that nut's covered. So however many times that is. And it was really helpful for her to go that she didn't do that exercise when she started her business. And
I mean, I did have a budget, but it was like oh, I need this and I need this and I need this. And I
want that.
Yeah. Now it's like, I think the needs changed a little bit.
Well, and your experience, you learn things by failing or by struggling so much more than successful. Believe you me, all of my vast knowledge has been likely through failing.
Well, the way I look at it is if we don't make the mistakes, how are we going to learn?
Right.
So I review my failures as, okay, maybe I should have took a quicker right. Let's evaluate and let's,
I am just always a firm believer that everything that happened before brought me to this place, and I like where this is.
Oh, I love where this is.
And if it's in the past, it doesn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. So I try not to live there and this is where I'm standing right now. Mm-hmm. And I can't have regrets because I can't change that and you just can't go back. But you definitely need to think about how much do you need to sell to cover your monthly expenses, including any salary and money that you pay to yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't thought about that, then you got some long, hard days coming when you try to figure it out later. And hopefully you'll come maybe talk to Mendy and she'll get you all straightened out.
I do a lot of strategy sessions now with businesses, and I do a lot of budget strategy calls. It's something in my webinar. I recently just went and taught some classes over at CV Tech to their cosmetology kids that are graduating and talking to them about accounting. And these are some basic, but they haven't been taught that.
And they're all going to be sent out and be a 1099 self-employed person in a salon and not know anything about expenses or how to manage money or any of those things. And I know she isn't a little girl. She's probably 19, but she did some volunteer work for a nonprofit I'm on the board of. And she is in cosmetology school. I wonder if you maybe presented to her.
No.
Her name is Maddie, and she was a national honor student and had to have community service hours. And she posted on one of those female entrepreneur pages. And I picked her up, and she baked me cookies last year for Christmas because she likes to bake. So I was like, well, come on down.
You are the next contestant.
And bring me some cookies. So, yeah, she wants to be an esthetician. So she might have a salary job, but a lot of that, everything in that.
Everything, yes.
It really
is. Markups, inventory, cost of goods sold versus an expense.
And I do think it's so important that we need to, it used to be such a taboo to talk about money. And I think that that's why so many people are in such financial crisis is because we don't talk about that. Mm-hmm. Well, now we think we know everything when really we know nothing.
Nothing.
Well, Mendy made a very good point of for example, I had a roofing client and he was a great roofer, but he wasn't a very good businessman.
How you how to run a business.
Right. It does not. And so many people, especially if they're out there working for somebody and they're like, I could do this, just know that you have no idea the depth of what that business owner is dealing with. And so keep that in mind when you're looking at it and thinking, I could be making all this money myself, that there is always a bunch of insurance and bills and stuff that you're not even considering that you have because you're feeling upset for whatever reason with your situation. And so you always want to take that into consideration. Yes. So tell us about Bloom Co-working.
So I opened Bloom August 1st.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited. It's my passion project. Community to me is that's where my heart's at. When you get people in a room and you can hear them laughing and talking and you can feel the energy, that for me is life. And I love that feeling. So it's something very important to me. We don't have anything like that. And I just wanted to create a community event center where I have business owners, but I have students who come in and study. I have a student, she's a nursing degree, and she's graduating in December, and she drops her kids at Mother's Day out. She comes in for 2 hours and studies, and then she picks them up. But those 2 hours in a quiet, comfortable space for her, and it's very kind of farmhouse, boho, very relaxing. You've been there. And I just wanted something very calm and quaint and cozy, and you feel like you're at home, but yet I don't want the distractions of home. I think that was something during COVID that was so important, is there was no work-life balance. I mean, it was, you know what? I'm going to go throw that load of laundry in. Well, and then nothing. I mean, you kind of half each, right? You half work, half got a lot more stuff done at the house at the same time. And work-life balance is important, especially for a business owner, so having that space just was really important to me, bringing people a sense of community. People can come in and have their customers come in and open houses and lunch and learns, and just to provide that to the city was everything to me. And I've just loved to be able to be involved and see how that space is turning out and how it's growing and the new ideas that are coming up, and the conversations I'm having, with colleges and business owners, and just seeing all the things that could happen.
I love that. I've actually worked at a communal office space here in Oklahoma City. There's one they moved. They're on Northeast 23rd now. It's called Workflow. Okay. It's run by an attorney, Ginger. And I worked on a political campaign that office there temporarily. There's a lot of comfy stuff in there too, but it's more of a kind of a black and white sheet, kind of environment. But I had never been around that before. I don't think there's executive centers, but that's different. It's not just a pop-in kind of, it reminds me of like a country club's little pool pass. Like, I don't have to live in the neighborhood. I can just come to the pool.
Yep.
Right? So I don't have to have an office there, but I can come over and enjoy the stuff and use all of that. And I love it. I really do. And my first experience was a couple of years ago at Workflow, and I was very intrigued by it. It was in downtown Oklahoma City, but I was very intrigued by it.
Oh, yeah. I just like to have a body double. You don't even have to be talking to me, but knowing somebody else is working, I'm going to work, because I'm not going to just sit here and look pretty, So but with the house, it's, I could do this.
Yes.
Or, I could do this. Or
now, as somebody that works quickly and can get a lot done, I'm on the end of that, as a lot of businesses that I've consulted with are trying to bring their staff back into the office full time. And so they were getting resistance. So my question was, is it critical that they be here in person? And they said, well, how do we know they're working? Well, is the work getting done? Because if the work's getting done, why does it matter how many hours they actually put in? Are you hiring them to do the work, or are you hiring them to trade hours for dollars? And I find myself in that trap because I will work late, and I'm conditioned from being in corporate America for so long that I need to be at the desk by 8:30.
Yes.
And I have that anxiety a little bit, feeling like, Debra, you're the damn boss.
Yep. I tell her, like, I will see, like, on the weekends, I'll happen to look at, like, she'll start texting, and I'm like, get off your phone.
Quit working. I've worked a lot. I am a workaholic, but it's ingrained in me. Damn, Henry Ford, that's who we have to thank for that 40-hour work week.
Well, he's horrible. Right. So, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in my office usually by 6:30, 7 o'clock every morning, and I'm done by 3. And I do that on purpose. So that's the other part. I'm a morning person. I know I'm a morning person. At 2 o'clock, I'm done. Right. And you get stuck in an 8 to 5 routine. You're like, I have 3 more hours. Well, let me go work when I'm productive. Like, you're getting more work out of me. I get more work done in the first 3 hours that I'm in the office than I do the rest of the day because nobody's calling me. My texts are not going off. My messenger is not going off. It is quiet.
That's how I am in the evenings too.
Yes, like I am just kicking stuff out. And then after that, you're like, okay, here we go. You get settled in for the work portion, you know? So yeah, why? Why are we?
I don't know. And I always end up doing way more than what I really should be doing because I'm stuck there. I'm going to go seek out something to do. I can't sit still. My ADHD goes, okay, I got to go find something. And then next thing you know, I'm working on some project that I have no business doing. And so, all right. We've gone all the way almost to the end without doing show us your deals, huh?
Yes.
Well, we just had such a good conversation
I know, it's
with
hard.
Mendy. We will have it, Mendy's websites will be linked in our show notes, so please check out those.
And then at the end of the deal for added content as well.
Yes. So, well, normally in between our discussions, we do our segment that Christina and I love, and it has to do with how we bonded over high heels. And
I'm still
no, she has a foot injury, poor thing, but we don't discriminate. You have cute shoes on. But what we would do is when one of us would do something good that we were proud of, we were excited, we would take a picture of the shoe that we were wearing when we did it.
I love that.
And we would send that, and it became a real uplifting thing for us. So this segment, we encourage other women to send us a photo of the shoe that they're wearing when they did something really fantastic that they're proud of, and tell us what it is and what they do, what their business is, and their business's website, and then they can get featured and be our Queen of the Week.
Yes.
The way you get yourself, the way you can do that is you can email us at deals@dealswithheels.com. You can tag us on social media, make a post and tag us on social media. You can use the hashtag
DealsWithHeels.
And we look at all of those and then we pick our Queen of the Week from that. And this week, our Queen of the Week is
Miss Faith Ann Basor.
I was like, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. Faith Ann Basor. She owns Window Washing Plus, which I think is an awesome job. She's got to be a badass. It's probably a male-dominated industry. And she grew that entire business by networking. So she opened up a networking consulting business where she helps people become better networkers and use it to grow their business. And it is called the Networkers Tour Guide. And I'm so excited for her.
I am too. And knowing Faith Ann personally, she is truly a heart of gold.
Yes.
She just has that genuine that she just wants to truly help people. And that's what I'm loving so much about this community that we are in is we are no longer tearing each other to shreds.
Thank you.
I
didn't even know that was a thing when I worked in corporate. I was like, you mean there are women who will support you and not stab you in the back the second you turn up? Oh, there's really women like that? Yes. I didn't even know that existed anymore until I became self-employed. And people would actually cheerlead for you and didn't expect anything in return. And actually truly supported you.
Not wishing bad on you.
Yes.
You're good.
I'm very cynical because I spent so long in corporate America. And I mean, you just had to constantly watch your back.
Dog eat dog.
Yes.
Oil and gas.
And it's
dog
one
eat dog.
like, I still find myself like, okay, is this person real? Or are we really, are they
best be
genuine?
careful.
Yes.
So, well, Faith Ann, we're so proud of you and so impressed by your accomplishment. And
Keep rocking it, girl.
She does have her websites are the networkerstourguide.com and windowcleaningplusokc.com. And you can link to those from our show notes.
Yes. Yes.
So Faith Ann, congratulations. You're our
Queen of the week.
All right. Well, we did all of your accountability and all of my stuff all wrapped up in our big. We did. But I think it was a lot of really good practical information.
Oh, yeah. Especially after the last 2 weeks to be able to, kind of polish it all together was really good. So.
I do. We appreciate you so much coming and talking
Thank
to
you
us,
for having me.
sharing all of your knowledge. And please check out Mendy's websites. Let's see, the Honeydew. It's honeydew-checklist.com. So you can go on there, and that is where your webinars are linked from.
Yes, you can join a webinar from there. And I'm in the process of, I have a recorded webinar they'll be able to purchase. They can't attend a live event.
Fantastic. And then the other is www.bloom-coworking.com.
Yes, we would love to have you. Join us for a tour. Come see us in Yukon.
And really quick, I know that you do if somebody needs to have it for things, like parties and things like that. So definitely with the holiday season.
The little event center.
Yes.
Can they book on your website? Or do they need to? They can.
You can book everything on the website. And there's a promo code HOLIDAY. You get 2 hours for $149. So if you want to have any event over the next 2 months, 60 days, it's $149 and, you bring all your stuff, take it out, but no cleaning, no dogs, no laundry, no dishes. So
love that.
Come enjoy a nice clean space and enjoy yourself. And we'd love to have you.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, we're done.
We
made
are
it.
done.
Please
yes.
listen, subscribe, tell your friends. We need new listeners all the time, of course.
And
watch us on
happy
YouTube.
holidays, guys. Make sure that this is the last week. So get your shopping done very quickly. So, and we will see y'all for our Christmas episode.
That's right. All right.
We're out.